Hello everyone, my name is BigHeroSixy, and today I'm going to be showing you the Cinderbrew Meadery dungeon in the War Within Alpha. I was given the opportunity to test the War Within Alpha along with a few other content creators. And yeah, so there's two dungeons in this build. This is one of them. I should have the other dungeon up on my channel. If it's not up, it will be released later today. And let's just watch this. I have it at 1.5 times speed. There will not be sound. To be completely upfront, this is a very early alpha build, so most of the stuff does not have sound in the dungeon. It is very much no voices, it's just visuals, you do the stuff, you do the mechanics, stuff like that. So you're not really missing too much on that. And also I want to save y'all time. So let me press play. We start our pool. This is the very entrance of the dungeon. Now you have these venture company patrons. Tasting room attendants, boiling flames. Something I want to point out just off the rip is that a lot of the abilities in this dungeon are all puns. So we're currently in the room called the Flaming Taps. They're throwing chairs, they're striking us. That knockback, super scary. Make sure you're positioned in a way that you do not pull more mobs. See, we're getting more mobs right now. It's getting a little hectic. Just something to keep in mind. Get knocked back again. They leave the shockwave on the ground. So you want to be positioned in a way with your tank as well as the rest of your group. See, I bad positioning on my part. I almost got knocked back into more ads. So I'm getting close to the wall. I'm moving over here, trying to readjust. There's somebody named Chef Chewy, and here's one of the puns. He throws out high stakes. I think there's, yeah, see, Chef Seasoning. We're getting seasoned. You know, me as a Tauren, that's very appropriate. I'm getting seasoned with some salt. I should have read the debuff. Maybe it said something like "stay salty." Like it would have been pretty funny. So we're pulling more of them. Throw chair. So far, really not too bad. I think the most dangerous thing is the knockback with the group-wide damage and then potentially pulling more so your group gets overwhelmed. I could see this room being very nasty with the way it's positioned. Say you're a Frosty K and you throw out your big old dragon. You could definitely pull other things. Hunters, I don't even know if they take Barrage anymore. Is Barrage still a thing? I don't play Hunter. I normally play Red Paladin. I Mythic Grade as a Red Paladin. So, you know, a lot of those things, not really sure about. But just some things to be aware of. Could be dangerous. We're killing another one of these hired muscle. I believe we full clear in this room. Just to be safe. I look and see something clickable over there. I believe it was a cooking pot. I didn't double check on this. Something that is interesting and something to keep in mind, which is maybe the cooking pot, is that there's a lot of clickables in these dungeons that require professions or even races, and you'll see that at the end of this dungeon that there is a clickable on that. So this guy's the brew master, Aldir. He has a keg smash. It drops off stuff you don't stand in. He has a frontal and then happy hour. So this is a mini game, and like I click on it, but I didn't get it. I try and click on it again, and it fades away. So I didn't beat the timer. I'm just like, well, maybe I have it, and it's just a visual mistake. But no, that was really bad on my part. But you take these mugs to the enemies in the room that have the red aura around them, like you're serving drinks, and then you go back to fighting the brewmaster. I'm not exactly sure what happens if you do not serve all the drinks. It may be a group wide. It may be he gets a damage buff. Not 100%. I'm of the mindset that you do not necessarily look at the dungeon journal if you are doing, you know, if it's not mythic and it's not going to be majorly difficult. Sometimes it's fun to learn by doing, you know, what's life without a little bit of mystery, right? So you actually do have the option to go either way. There is a split path there. You could go north or you could go south through this hallway. And then we got some bees. There's a ton of bees in this dungeon. So you got worker bees with something called Final Sting, which I believe is going to be a tank buster. I think somebody got hit with a Final Sting and they just got destroyed. You have this brand ambassador that is throwing out free swag, Big Knoll, a few more jokes in this dungeon. Royal Jelly Purveyor with more bees, Rain of Honey, dodge the honey. Visually, I think this is a pretty fun dungeon. I don't know what it is about honey. It might have been me as a kid playing Donkey Kong Country with all those bee levels with the honey. Like I didn't get out of that. It's sucking you in and making you super slow from the honey, so it's actually kind of hard to get through, and I should have freed him, but I didn't. And, you know, just big AoE pull on all of them. You see people are getting low. You'll notice that I throw lay on hands on people and stuff like that. I don't know if I sack because I'm worried if I'm going to get smacked by something. And like, this is the normal. I mentioned in my Rookery video, if you may have come over from the Rookery video, that this dungeon has a lot more scary stuff going on in the trash. And you can kind of see some of that. Final Sting can one-shot somebody. If it's not the tank, you see it's targeting somebody right there, and it's like if that cast goes through, you're screwed. Maybe it can be stunned, you know, CC'd over and over with like that totem that was dropped right there, or if you're a demon hunter and you use your Chaos Nova, stuff like that. But big pull of bees, Final Sting going off. It goes off and it hits Wochi, and Wochi gets blasted, brother. That, I think the first Final Sting, I think that was it, and then it knocked him 50%. And I believe this is a normal difficulty dungeon, so imagine that on Mythic Plus. That is just going to be a flat-out one-shot. Obviously, tuning can change. I'm trying to position in a way where I don't hit people, and then I get stuck in the boxes, and I was like, oh my god, I'm dying, and then I start healing people, and I'm panicking. Like, let's blast these guys. For those curious, Rep Paladin, I am currently playing the Solar Flare build, which is like the Sun Herald or whatever it's called. It lets you have sparks. I don't have a lot of the heroic talents. I did not use the option to get all the talent points because it actually debuffs you. They have a debuff, so you... I'm not sure if that's in dungeons, but it debuffs you damage-wise. So I only have a few talents. It really doesn't do a big deal. I try and heal some people to keep people up because I get scared for my party. You know, actually playing a paladin as a utility, not necessarily just a DPS, trying to actually do things. There's some mobs behind. Funny thing, I did this dungeon with Max and a few other people, Megaset, Tan Queen, as well as Bowser. And they pulled those in the back when I was taking. I got so scared. There was just a huge mob hitting our DPS and healers. So this is going to be the second boss or third boss, depending on which direction you go. And this is called Bink Busby. It looks like it is a bee boss with a goblin on top of the bee. And we didn't really pay attention to this gimmick when we did it on this run, but see, there are barrels on the ground, and then the tank gets a circle around them, and that drops a circle you don't stand in, and there's other bees that come in. Now, we weren't dealing with the barrels. The barrels are doing group-wide damage this entire time. It's burning, it's dealing damage to us. We don't do anything about that. But you're actually able to mount these bees, and I kind of like see the thing, and I say in group chat, like, hey, should I try this and grab one of these? And I was like, yeah, go ahead. So eventually here, I'm going to grab the bee, and like, I'm like, what does this do? And I look down, it has an arrow, and I read it. It is called Bee Ha. So you're supposed to break the barrels, I think, by using your Bee Ha ability. And, you know, going back to that conversation about puns, that is, you know, the biggest thing is mount as many bees, be hot, clear the room so you're not taking damage. Because like I look at our health pools right now. I like throw a heal to him and he's Logan still dies. I should have kept spamming flash of light on him to save him. I didn't realize he still had a dot on him. I'm used to different frames. I'm used to Plater. I'm used to having my weak auras, and you know it's hard to use the base UI sometimes, even though it is way better than it used to be. But yeah, that is the second boss, Bink Busby. Some of these bosses, I think the meadery is going to be nasty, man, on M+. And I'm not sure who pulled this. It looked like it was one of those that ran through the door. I think maybe those bees get pulled no matter what if you run through the door, or maybe somebody just got too close. That's not something I've tested yet, but, you know, alpha is going to be so long. It's probably going to be, you know, however many weeks. I think Dragonflight Alpha was like 8 weeks, so maybe this will be 8 weeks. It just depends. So we got plenty of time to test it and see. And sorry for the hiccup. It is like 2 a.m. while I'm doing this, and, you know, we got a big day coming when we're allowed to actually post all this, so I'm trying to just make as much content as possible. By the way, let me know if you prefer the presentation of the dungeon this way, or you'd rather just actually have the sound with a playthrough of me live reacting to the dungeon as we go through, or just kind of like an after fact analysis. I'm not really sure what the best way to do it is. Just let me know what you prefer, and I will take that feedback. So I'm taking damage here. The Careless Hobgoblins, those big boys, they have a frontal charge. It's pretty well telegraphed. It's that Reckless Delivery. very long cast bar, but it is nasty. It will do group-wide damage as soon as you hit the wall. It doesn't look like the farther they travel changes the amount of damage, as far as we could tell. So the best way to do it is, you have your group up, y'all bait the charge and then move. And that way, it keeps things from getting too crazy. Like, say one of the goblins runs down the entire hallway. They will go that far. That's how far the charge goes, as far as I could tell. They will just book it and just keep going. So for the sake of not pulling more see, you can just see him going there. There he goes, all the way across the hallway. It's actually kind of nuts. So you want to make sure you're positioned in a way where you do not grief the rest of your group. So I kind of like bait over there. He charges into that wall. We take the group wide, and then the other one's going the other direction at the other wall. And then we have the drops, and you got to kill those. Otherwise, you're going to hit everybody. So you got to quick snap aggro those little babies. And then that leaves all your stuff on the floor. And we're getting close to the next boss. It's just past this hallway. I haven't really paid attention to the pyromaniacs. Free samples. You see a few other spill drink, boiling flames is an interrupt if you want to try and interrupt it. And then we come into the room with Ipa. Now you will not see Ipa yet. Ipa spawns. But this room, you probably want to clear as much as you feel comfortable with. First time, especially on Mythic, depending on what they add and what's required in a Mythic environment with new mechanics. You probably want to clear most of the room just to be safe. We have a really big Gigapool here that we're kind of like, oh my god. I'm like looking to lay on hands somebody just in case I get hit because I'm a moron. I Divine Shield, I heal myself. And then we're just kind of like paying attention to see what's going on here. That's actually a big weakness of mine when we were doing Mythic Farok, because people take so much damage during that. So I'm like sacking and laying handsing, just kind of like I'm watching raid frames as I'm doing DPS. And if I look too close, I actually tunnel on my frames and I will just tank something on accident. I'm a pretty consistent player, but when it comes to that, that's when I'll die. Like when I have to judge based on who's the best person in the res in that split second, and then like I miss whatever mechanic's going on, I just have a big forehead moment. All right, so this is Ipa, second or third boss, depending on which way you go. Like I said, you can pick the direction you want to go, dodge the swirlies, just throwing swirlies around. And he spawns these little drops. If the drops touch him, there is a huge group-wide damage, and then the dewdrop will give Ipa a shield, and the shield stacks. So funny thing, I ran this with Max and all of them, and Max was talking about, yeah, like he ran it with Tally, and apparently Tally grouped them all up as soon as they came out. I was like, oh yeah, we're just gonna power through these guys and just kill them, right? And they all exploded. So that's actually a pretty funny. So we actually see that just happened. They spawned underneath Ipa and we almost all die. So it almost happened to us in this playthrough as well. So do not make that mistake. Remember, keep Ipa away from the little babies and you will be fine, because we're still fighting an absorb shield and I think he's about to spawn more. And that's basically the fight. So it's the spouting stout. I think I'll start dropping them after the spouting stout. Let's see. Let me double check here. Yeah, so there they are. Tank moves. But, at this point, it's so low. Play keep away. There was a really good movement by Woshi, knocking them back as they were coming through. Well played. And then we just kill the boss because the health is low enough. And then we try and sneak by, but, we pull these anyway. So we just try and fight these. Like I said, that one room with the bees, even though we ran through the door, they still pulled. So I'm not sure how many things are hooked to, going through the area in a specific way, if they're forcing you to kill trash, but I think this is skippable. I think I skipped it in my other run. I've only ran this twice, by the way. This is my very first run, and the second run I did an hour or two ago, and it is very late right now. And I still don't necessarily remember everything. Goldie Baron Bottom is the next boss, and then you. So sorry, you'll see a quick edit here. I actually had a recording issue, so we're going to watch the final boss again. Like I said, this is Goldie Baron Bottom. This is going to be the final boss of the Meadery dungeon. So you have these yes men You pull them. They have things called downward trend and a few other abilities that are puns. Fantastic idea. Fantastic idea. All right, you may have gotten my employees, but now you're dealing with the BEO herself. So, Goldie Baron Bottom, very similar mechanics to Rashok, if you remember from Aberrus. These barrels, you can explode them and they're going to send out lava waves. Now, I've done this 2 different ways. In this, we actually clear the barrels and then dodge the waves after. In my other run, our goal was to not hit any barrels at all and then just dodge them all at once. I think the waves will move faster on higher difficulties. And you may ask, like, well, what if you just don't pop them? Like, how do they pop? Well, the Let It Hail will just fire everything all around the room, and here they come, and you just kind of... It's really not too bad. Now, if they're a lot faster, or if there's even more waves on higher difficulties, that could be insane. But it seems like to me, if you can just, you know, if you're really sure of yourself, I've actually stood in the middle of the room, and no waves went to hit me. But yeah, that is the Meadery dungeon. If you like this video, please let me know if you want me to show the video in a different way by having the sound when there is sound effects and things like that. Later on, obviously, we're going to be doing mythic testing, and I'll probably do my live reaction with that, as well as kind of like maybe an analysis video of how I think the key itself will run during the season. I actually think this key will be kind of dangerous. There's a lot of high impact moves, but you know, those things get tuned. This is very, very early, so I'm not too worried about it right now, but there is potential there. And yeah, so like I said, more videos being released all day today. There should be something like 2 dungeons if I finish this mega video that I'm working on. It's far more edit intensive, so I'm not sure if I will. It might be out the day after, but look for that. And then I believe there is the city video that I'm doing, which shows off the new capital city and delves. I believe I'm going to do a video on delves. So look for those. They may have been already released, or they might release later today. Kind of have them going out all day. And please check out my Twitch if you are a live stream enjoyer. I will be live on Twitch talking about my experience, showing more footage that is not just in this video. I recorded everything I did, so I just have a ton of footage during all the alpha. I played like 24 hours total, and there's just a ton of stuff there. If you have questions for me, let me know. I mainly play Ret Paladin, but I will be playing all the specs within reason that I do understand enough to actually have a conversation on. So yeah, leave me some feedback, and I hope you all have a good day and take care. Thank you so much.